welcome to Quick Tip Tuesday with Applied Behavior Solutions. We have written an article and done a few posts on Facebook and Instagram about reading, and the response that we have gotten is pretty much give me more. So for today, I want to give you some great tips and tricks that you can use at home and in the classroom to encourage a love for reading in your little ones. You may be wondering what is the best age to start, and the simple answer is it's never too early to start getting children to develop a love for books. In fact, there has been some research that shows that specific areas of the brain are affected when young children are exposed to reading from an early age at home. These areas are critical for children's language development. I'm Robin. I am a behavior analyst and one of the founders of Applied Behavior Solutions. We started AB Solutions because we have such a big passion to help children, families, teachers, and other professionals develop the potential in their children. We believe in a world that is inclusive, accepting, and understanding of those who are different. How we work is we provide one-to-one ABA services based on a program that's designed specifically for each child. We specialize in childhood development and we use behavior analytical services which work on areas such as reducing challenging behavior, reaching developmental milestones, acquiring foundational academic skills, facilitation, and school readiness support. We very much strongly believe in supporting the community, parents, and professionals. So that's why every Tuesday we release a short, informative episode loaded with quick tips designed to give you information that you can start using today. After watching this video, you will walk away with some new tools in your toolbox that will help your kiddo become a stronger reader, and most importantly, to develop a love and an interest in books. So we all know that reading is important, but do we know why? There are some very obvious reasons, such as the development of a larger vocabulary, the ability to navigate text in everyday life, and an increased creativity and imagination. But there's also so many other incredible benefits for your child from becoming a fluent reader. One of the most beautiful gifts that comes from reading is the relationship that is developed between the caregiver and the child, and later on between the teacher or the therapist and the child. When you take time to create regular reading experiences, it creates a shared experience and a shared moment for both of you to look forward to. And it goes a long way in showing your child that they are loved, that you're thinking about them. And this special time that they have with you is so precious for them. And the consistency is reassuring and it develops a deep bond between you guys. It also helps with experiences and a deeper understanding. So reading allows us to travel the world and other worlds too, and experience things that are way outside of our norm. Your child will learn about different places, different cultures, different types of characteristics that people can be attributed with, and go on adventures that are way outside their capabilities. It's the perfect way to expose your child to new and different emotions. So reading teaches them that things that they wouldn't typically be able to learn through any other way. Similarly related is that reading helps develop empathy in children. So when you read, you are actually putting yourself in the story and you are developing a connection with the characters and what they're feeling, what they're going through. This assists greatly in the development of social skills. It also assists in cognitive development. So cognitive development is how we perceive and think about the world in reference to our own knowledge, our reasoning, our language development, and our information processing. By reading to your child, you're giving them a deeper understanding of the world that they live in, and you are filling them with background knowledge. They are then able to use this to make sense of what they see, what they hear, things that they read, and this aids in their cognitive development. What it also does is it really helps increase your child's concentration and ability to sustain attention. So this is the ability to sit and listen to an adult while they're reading, and it will really help greatly with school readiness. It can also improve things like memory skills, especially when you're asking questions as you go. This is an activity that I place in quite a few of my kids' programs when I want to work on expanding the amount of time they're able to sit with one activity, basically sustaining their attention. So what I would typically do, and you can try this at home too, is start small and read to them one page of a book and ask them a question, or get them to interact at least in one way with the book. So if you're reading a book and you've read the page, ask them where the chicken was found, or what was the name of the mom, or point to the dad. And as you go, you can increase the amount of pages and the amount of questions you ask them, and this will help in sustained attention. Reading becomes a stable source of information throughout your child's life, and it allows them to access text consistently and reliably, which will encourage them to seek out information through text, both academically and when they're facing challenging circumstances. Right, so we get that reading is important, but what can you do when your child flat out refuses to read? Here are some quick tips that you can do to help get your kiddo to read that book that you have been begging them to read. There are quite a lot of tips that we want to share. I mean, it's such a great topic, and I could literally talk about it for hours. But seeing as this is Quick Tip Tuesday, I'm going to try and get through them quite quickly. I'll expand on a few of them, but what I would recommend is write down the things that you feel are accessible to you and your child, things that would work for your kiddo, and come back to this video in about a month's time and see if there's any others you would like to try. We have a YouTube channel now, so you can go onto there so that you can easily access this video at a later stage. If you want me to go into any more detail on any of the topics, please let me know in the comment section. All right, so let's get started by starting early. Even during infancy, a child can look at pictures and listen to your voice. So read to your child and point to the pictures on the page. Say the names of the different objects that appear and what the characters are doing. This will provide your child with two sources of information. One, an understanding of real-world objects, and also an understanding of the importance of language. Even when your child can read by themselves, you should still read together for practice. Okay, next is make reading enjoyable. This sounds quite obvious, but reading should be a fun activity that's looked forward to and not as a punishment. We should attach books to fun routines so that your kid associates reading with the things that they enjoy doing. Something else that you can do to make reading more enjoyable is to tie books into their interests. So if your kid really loves animals, get a book about different countries and find out where each animal comes from. Or you could get a book about anything where the characters are animals, maybe. All right. The next thing to do is to not underestimate the importance of reading diverse books. So provide your child with different types of books on different topics, and this will give them a range of information for them to learn. There are informative books on topics like animals, countries, objects, and there's also different books that can help children learn important life skills like sharing, being kind, accepting others. Next, what you could do is visit a bookshop and let them explore it at least once a month. I know that during lockdown and COVID-19, it's a little bit different, but pop their mask on, take them to a bookshop. You can even restrict the amount of touching that they have with the books, but getting them to explore the world out there, and the books and the bookshops are often really fun in that they have different sections and different toy kind of books and a whole bunch of variety. It's really helpful for them. Let them choose their own books. This will promote independency, and there's nothing worse than being told what to do, especially for kids. So when they feel like it's their idea and their book, then they're more likely to enjoy it. Audiobooks can also be a really fun way to explore stories when they don't feel like reading. Model a love for reading. So if your child sees you sitting down with a good book or talking about the different characters and stories from your books, then the chances are that they're going to want to do the same. Create a cozy reading nook. Like, this is every kid's dream. Well, maybe not the reading nook part, but a nook. Having a little alone space, a space that's just theirs. And you can make this with an old big box. You can make this using sheets in like a tent form, or loads of cushions in an area. And a nice way to ramp this up even further is to make it themed. You can have a set theme, or you can change the theme according to the book they're reading. So you could have a Narnia themed book nook. You could have a Harry Potter themed one. You could have a Horrid Henry one. I know kids love Horrid Henry with like really gross stuff all over the place. Not real gross stuff. Maybe you and your kiddo can like draw things and make like slime and different fun things that remind them of Horrid Henry. If your kid is reading a ladybug book, like get them to cut out or draw little ladybugs that you can stick all over. Have it like an outside theme. Another way that you can improve the love of and enjoyment of reading is by bringing books to life. So how you can do this is you can create real life experiences based on the current book that they're reading. So make green eggs and ham if you've just read Dr. Seuss, like with Play-Doh or like an experiment. Use a wardrobe to pretend that you're going into Narnia. You can practice spells that you've learned in Harry Potter. You could visit the zoo after reading an animal story. Show them what different animals are. Oh, remember we spoke about the elephant who had to do whatever it was, and there's a real life element. It makes it so much more exciting, and it strengthens those connections too. So like this is an example of a book. So This Way Ruby. And let's say this book is about, it's really a cute book, but it's got all the ducks and how they're following mom. Here they get stuck, and later on, like they go to the pond and you can see them at the pond. Now, after reading this book to your kid, to make it come to life, take them to the park where there's a little dam and ducks, and you can feed the ducks and talk about. You can even take your book with you to reread on a blanket, or take it with and show them photos. Oh, look, this was Ruby Duck. Like these are all the ducklings. Look, where do you find ducklings? Make it real for them. It's super exciting. You can do this before or after reading. So if you're going to read a book like this, maybe go to the park beforehand, see the ducks, and then while you're reading, you can be like, remember the ducks that we saw? And it gives them a reference point. What you can also do is read the book and then watch the movie. So if there's a movie that they really want to watch, I mentioned Harry Potter a few times, but if they want to watch Harry Potter, get them to read the book first. It's a motivation to read the book, because I know often movies are more enticing for kids because it's less effort. But if they have a movie on their list, and there is a book for it, get them to read it. Have books stashed all around the house so that it's easily accessible. Take turns reading out loud. So sometimes kids can get a bit overwhelmed when they need to read an entire page or an entire chapter by themselves. When you take turns, you give them a break from reading and they can still enjoy the story. Reread the same books to little ones. That can help them develop a firm favorite. Get cooking. So when instructions and ingredients are read slowly and many times, it improves comprehension. If If your child isn't interested in cooking, you can do this with anything that requires following instructions. So woodworking or gardening or arts and crafts. Give them the gift to keep on reading by giving them or getting them to have 2 to 3 books on their birthday wish list. And then on their birthday, they open their presents, and there's the book that they've been dying for. They've had it on their list, and now it's there. And lastly, my biggest tip is to never stop trying. I am a massive lover of books and reading. It's one of my greatest comforts in life. But if you ask my mum, no matter how hard she tries, I didn't take to it until my early teens. I think I was about 11 years old, 12, maybe 13. She literally tried everything, including bribery. So I would be offered 50 Rand for each book that I read. But I would cheat and read the back of the book and tell her basically what the book was about without reading it. Sorry, Mom. For me, it was finding the right book. My mom came back from a trip to America, and she brought back with her these 2 new, really interesting books on a new series, and it was the Harry Potter books. And since then, literally, that's all it took. Since then, I can't get enough of books. The point is that these tips may help, and they probably will help. But if they don't, or if your kid is still struggling to find that passion, don't give up. A love for books is the greatest gift that you could give your child. And if you keep trying, they will eventually get there. I hope that you found today's talk helpful. Please let us know if you have tried any of these tips at home. We'd also love to hear from you what worked for you and your kiddo. Tune in next week for another episode of Quick Tip Tuesday, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to watch this and other episodes. Bye everyone.